Hello and welcome to KitPlus TV. Today we are going to be talking about another new camera to be launched by Canon. The EOS-C70 is a new generation RF mount camera with a newly designed lightweight body, and there's been a lot of fuss about this camera.
Yep, and the person to tell us all about the new camera is here with us in the studio. Welcome Barry Griffin from Canon UK. Firstly, Barry, it's probably sensible for you to give us the headline intro. Tell us a little bit about the camera and the thought process behind this new form factor.
Sure. Hi, thanks for having me on, guys. Really great to be here. And as you said, it's really exciting to be able to come around and talk about the new C70. So when we're talking about this camera, what's it all about? You can see there's a different form factor with this camera than any other Cinema EOS camera that we actually have launched recently. So this now sits with the new cameras, the C500 Mark II, the C300 Mark III, and now the C70. Looking at the form factor and what it offers, it's the first Cinema EOS camera that has the RF mount. So this was the mount that Canon announced and launched out in 2018 with the EOS-R. A really exciting mount. It's the future for Canon going forward as mounts because of what we'll be able to do with lenses and so on. Looking at this camera, as you can see, it's kind of a hybrid, a mix between what a DSLR or mirrorless style camera would look like for people who shoot like that, but with everything that you'd expect a cinema camera would offer. So size-wise, button layout, ergonomics, vari-angle screen, all those things with an easy-to-change mount system like so. So yeah, really exciting time for what this camera is going to be able to offer. Some of the key specifications that this camera has, it does have the same sensor that you find in the Canon C300 Mark III, which is our DGO sensor. So this sensor was designed by Canon to improve and increase the dynamic range of the camera. So this is the first or second camera, should I say, that offers up to 16 plus stops of dynamic range, which is absolutely fantastic with low noise and high color and high contrast, all those things people want. The other thing it offers as well is up to 4K 120 in high frame rate in different codecs as well. So really exciting and is making a lot of noise for the market out there.
So with a long list of cameras from Canon this year, the C300 Mark III, the EOS R5 and R6, etc., where does this camera fit? Who are we aiming it at?
So the kind of people that are looking at aiming this camera towards, if you see the size-wise, we can see in the market now DSLRs and mirrorless cameras have become a very popular style and kind of camera that people use for videography. But there are limitations to that. While the ergonomics are quite popular and the small form factor is popular, it's down to that if you wanted to make those kind of cameras more cinematic or make them a production style camera, you have to add accessories. So what we've done with this camera is it's a slightly bit bigger, but it offers everything. So having all the controls, has 13 different customizable buttons on the body, having a built-in ND filter as well. It's the first time a brand new design to allow us to have the ND filter built inside the camera as well. This now allows those people who are looking for that form factor, that size, that weight of camera to be able to get more out of it for higher end productions. So yeah, that's the concept of the camera. So for people who moving up like that, the other place this is going to be really popular is with the people who do have Cinema EOS cameras. This will be a great B camera because this will give you the same color science and the simple workflow to work as using a C300 Mark III or a C500 with this is your B camera in a small form factor.
We've mentioned the new body design, almost a mix between EOS-R and EOS Cinema, a new button layout and smaller than the C200 and 300. But with similar capabilities, how does the performance compare with cinema cameras?
So the performance, you're not losing any performance at all when you're talking about this form factor of camera. It is a cinema camera, so the specification, the design, the build of the camera is in the same line as you'd expect to see from our other cameras. So it does have environmental protection. It can be used in multitude of different environments securely and knowing that you're not going to have any major issues with it in any shape or form. It is literally a cinema camera, but just in that small form factor. It is down to where we just see people going with this style camera where they could actually use it and so on.
So you've mentioned ND built in. You've mentioned the sensor. Can you run through and highlight some of the features that really have turned this camera around, recording format, slow motion, etc.?
Sure. So this camera, most definitely. So this camera does offer up to 4K 120, as we've said, but it offers that and all the other speeds as well. So 30 frames per second, 24 frames per second, 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, and you can get all that in 422 10-bit. So this is the expectation now, the standard that people are expecting from any cameras that are coming, that you can get the 422 10-bit, that color space and that bit depth working as well. This camera offers XF-AVC all I in 4K up to 30 frames per second, and in 2K up to 60 frames per second. And then when we go into the MPEG-4 long GOP format, we can get up to 4K 60 and up to 4K 120. Now, the fantastic thing about it going through all that is it offers full autofocus throughout all those speeds. And for the first time in a Canon cinema camera, in the 4K 120, we're now offering separate audio capture as well. So a lot of people out there have been asking for that feature, and this camera is the first one to be able to offer that. Actually, if you don't mind, I've just remembered, and I hope you don't want me cutting in like that. This is also the first camera that actually has touchscreen functionality for switching on key features like zebras and peaking and so on and so forth as well, which is another first for Canon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hate to be the one to ask this next one, and I think I know the answer, but with stories of overheating in certain cameras, which clearly are only an issue when running for a long time in 8K, can users be confident that the camera runs at an acceptable temperature and is not likely to overheat?
Of course. So, of course, when you're talking about video cameras, so cameras that are designed purely as a video function, we all know that these have cooling systems, and this is no different. As you might be able to see here, this camera has an intake vent here, and they take the air in through here, passing through the back of the circuitry to keep everything cool, and then has two vents just on either side of the grip to vent out. So this camera will not have any overheating issues because it's not sealed. It's not designed as a stills camera that does video. It is purely a video camera like all our cinema cameras.
Kind of expected that, didn't we? But yeah, and we've heard about a cool little feature that says something about where this is targeted as well. That'll help media creators over and above broadcasters who would never dream of filming vertically. Yes. There's a little feature about, out there to help people making video content for phones and digital signage. What's going on with that?
So it's just down to how the industry's changing. There are a lot of customers and clients out there that use social media in a large way and use things from TikTok to Instagram's stories to be able to promote themselves, as well as digital signage that we see throughout the city. So what we've decided to do and look at is to be able to allow you to shoot vertically. As you can see here, we can turn the menu around so you can actually read the menu vertically, which is the first thing you can do. You can turn it either a 90 degrees or 270 degrees to give you that. But what we've also done, just underneath here, hopefully you can see it, we actually have a mount for your tripod. So you can do it handheld if you're doing something for social media, but if you wanted to do something where you needed to lock it down into place, we can now do vertical shooting. It just shows you how the industries and how commercial capture is actually changing going forward.
Yeah, so it's been a hectic year for Canon 2020 so far with your new releases. Dare I say, can we expect anything more? Can you offer any more insight into how the range is going to evolve?
Well, jokingly going to say this, but I hope not, because we've got a lot of products that we've announced over the last 12 months. Since September 2019 to where we are now, we have launched 3 cinema cameras, the C500 Mark II, the C300 Mark III, and now the C70, as well as 2 mirrorless cameras, the R5 and R6. That's 5 cameras that we've announced, as well as a selection of lenses in there as well, from the Cinema primes to new RF lenses. So we have a lot of work and working with our customers and our clients and the people who want to work with our product in showing this off over the next few years. So I'm not expecting to see anything more from us at the moment.
Now, finally, Barry, we don't want to catch you out on this one, but we're an industry all about the people. Tell us something about you that we, or maybe even your colleagues at Canon, don't know about you yet.
Well, it's something that I don't shout about too much anymore, but a lot of people don't know that I'm a qualified lifeguard. I don't do it as much. When I was a younger man, I did it a good amount, but yes, a qualified lifeguard. So if you do need a bit of saving down the beach, if I can keep my health up, I'm sure I'll be able to help you guys out.
Well, look out for a beach where Barry's on in the future. Hopefully we get some good weather.
Red trunks.
Thank you for watching today, and thank you very much to Barry from Canon for coming on the show. To see all of our video interviews and kit reviews, then head over to KitPlus TV, which is brought to you with the support of Media Proxy, and you can find out more about them at mediaproxy.com.